starting to be written texts between 300 and 400 years, and they have a flavor to them, and the flavor of them it's almost scientific. It's very straightforward and unassuming, you know. And then as it moved out of India, and then there's something in that period of India, and maybe in the realm of Indian logical analytical thinking, lots of lists, 52 factors in each moment of consciousness, you know, the 4 contributing factors here, a list of 16 here, a list of 7 here. And then as it moved, it acculturated to different countries. Tibetan Buddhism is different from Indian Buddhism. Much more ornate, all sorts of deities, moved away from that simplicity. But you could say, to answer, as it moved, this, what we might think of as observational scientific theme, consistently moved with it. And then at different points, like I think it would be reasonable to say, or arguable to say, that the Zen approach was trying to bring it back to that fundamental cultivation of consciousness that I was mentioning. You're welcome.
So as far as I understand, a large part of the Zen experience is about kind of understanding the foundations, the basic assumptions of our approaching the experience, and like trying to kind of enlighten them in a way, or completely erase them if we can. Of course, it's kind of impossible, but it's all about the foundations, or these kind of defining, and they're being kind of reflected in the products of our perception. Or, I don't know if you understand the.
I didn't quite understand.
You didn't? Well, it's like, you know, in standard logic, I mean, in order to come to certain conclusions, we need to start from a tautology, like from the basic assumptions. So how is Zen experience actually coming all the way down to these assumptions, and is that the essence of Zen?
So if you remember where I started was, I said, you know, if you look at quantum physics, if you look at the notion of modern physics, we'd say an atemporal existence. You know, as we just take that path and strip away, or take the consequences of that analysis, there isn't anything we can say in a confirming way. Okay, this is the nature of what is. We're left saying nothing definitive can be said about it. So I don't know if that addresses what you were asking, but so this non-assuming, in a strange way, is the grind of Zen practice. You know, we actually say not knowing is the basis. And then it becomes a methodology for subjective discovery, a process by which we do that. And then what do you discover? There is a common ground to our humanness. You know, there are ways we operate as humans, and then I would say that's when we can bring in, you know, observations around particular conditions and learn about them. You know, in my own work, I have worked quite a bit with things like depression, anxiety. You know, so it's when you talk about it theoretically, it seems extraordinarily abstract, but it sets a basis for looking at how particular situations, particular mental conditions fixate. You know? And from one way you can look at it, okay, well, this is a maladaptive way to try to increase happiness and decrease suffering. You know? and just coach the person to see how they're moving in the wrong way, how their response to a common experience of dissatisfaction and a certain amount of confusion and disappointment, common human experience, how they're responding to it is increasing their suffering. And through using certain techniques, they can start to interject another set of responses that will increase their happiness. And then you move directly from theory. In fact, you don't even mention the theory. You just coach in techniques. Okay, why don't you work with this? Why don't you do this? And try to bring this into your day. Not unlike the person saying, have the beeper go off 6 times a day. That's part of the technique is extremely similar to that. Periodically throughout your day, pause, and then intentionally try to create this internal condition in response to the moment. You want to say anything? No. Well, thank you very much for your attention, and I think we're going to hang out for a little bit and eat a pie. So if you want to ask us in a less formal way, you're welcome to. Yes.